fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with everything that makes you you. You are uniquely you. There's no one out here that can be you better than you can be you. So own that. Own yourself. Own everything that comes with yourself and be unapologetic about it. Hi, my name is Laura Renee, and this is the first episode of a new podcast series I'm starting where I talk about all things personal development, femininity, and faith. So, just a few facts about me. I'm 22. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. I am a Christian. And what made me want to start this podcast is, well, first of all, I've kind of always wanted to have a platform. When I was younger, I always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I never really knew exactly what direction I wanted to go in or exactly what I wanted it to be about. I just kind of always knew that I wanted to start one. And so recently I got the courage to just start my podcast, and I decided that I'm just going to pick up this mic and speak on whatever God puts on my heart to speak on. So that's what I'm doing. And I just want to share my perspectives and my experiences to hopefully help other women grow, reflect, and evolve into the best version of themselves. So if any of these topics interest you, feel free to continue watching or listening. And if you see me looking to the side here, it's because I have notes on my laptop just so I can make sure I say everything that I want to say. And yeah, so getting into today's topic, I wanted to speak on confidence. My experience with becoming confident, how I became confident over time, my experiences dealing with insecurities, and just how I grew into the woman that I am today. So, growing up, I was bullied. Not harshly, but I would say I was picked on quite a bit by the kids around me, especially in elementary school. In elementary school, it was bad. Until about the 5th grade, I think, I was always one of the tallest kids in the class. Not only was I tall, but I was severely overweight. I literally remember when we were in PE getting weighed, and my friends will, share their weight. Oh, I weigh 95 pounds. I weigh this, I weigh that. And I remember being like, oh, I don't remember, just casually forgetting, even though I just got weighed 2 minutes ago. Never wanted to share my weight. I was always ashamed because I was just always overweight. And that was one thing that I really felt insecure about growing up. I was bullied because I was tall. I was one of the tallest girls in my class until I was like 10, 11 years old. And so that was kind of tough. And I remember one of the biggest things that I got picked on was for my looks. For my nose specifically. I grew into my looks, but growing up, I felt like my nose was always the biggest feature on my face. And so I remember in 4th grade, this one girl used to, we used to see each other at PE. She literally used to call me Miss Piggy, believe it or not. And that comment used to just eat me up. Like, I remember the first time she called me that, I just went home and cried about it. Like, it hurt my feelings real, real bad. And so, those are just a few of the instances of me getting bullied at school. And at home, my situation wasn't that much better. Growing up, I wasn't really affirmed as much by the women around me. So I wasn't constantly told how pretty I was. I wasn't constantly told that I was beautiful, that I looked good or anything like that. It would have to be an occasion where I felt like I would receive compliments from the people around me. I got beat down a lot, and I'm Haitian. So anyone out there with Caribbean family members, you know how it can be. They're very blunt. They're very, very honest, sometimes brutally honest, which can be very helpful at times, right? Because we have people at home that can tell us the truth, but I believe that truth without compassion can really, really sting, especially in a young woman when this is her prime years to build her confidence, to build her identity, to work on her expression, how she shows up in the world. It can be very detrimental when you say negative things to a young woman like that. And so I don't shame the women that came before me or the women around me who didn't pour into me, because you can only give in the capacity that you were given. And so maybe they weren't poured into, maybe they didn't receive affirmations growing up, and that is one of the generational curses that I take pride in breaking, because now every young woman that comes after me will not have to experience the severity of the lack of confidence that I did. And so moving on to middle school, about 12, 13 years old, this is an awkward phase for everyone, right? Like, not many people were, no one was in their prime in middle school. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've been through, baby. You was not in your prime at 12, 13 years old, okay? And so no one around me looked extravagant, but I do remember just really being hard on myself about everything. And during these years, my weight, even though I lost a little bit of weight, I still fluctuated. And so my weight was also something I was insecure about, on top of my looks. I remember one day in computer class, it was like 6th or 7th grade, and I was sitting a few computers down from a group of kids that I was pretty cool with or whatever, just happened to get seated away from them. And I remember one day they were just like snickering and kikiing, and they were looking over at me, and I'm just kind of minding my business because, I mean, obviously they're talking about me and it must not be good if they're sitting around laughing about it. So I just decided to just mind my business and do my assignment on my computer. And one girl just called over to me. She was like, "Hey, Laura, like, do you know what she just said about you?" And I'm like, "No." I wasn't really trying to find out. So I'm just like, "No." And then she just says it, in front of other kids where other people can hear. She was like, "Oh, she said you're ugly." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Good to know. Like, what else was I supposed to respond to that? And she just looks over at me. She's like, "Yeah, no, like, not to be funny or whatever, but you're just not that pretty." And I'm like, "Got it. Heard you." And I remember this other instance where I was walking with one of my friends. We're going to our class in the morning, and she got pulled aside by one of her guy friends, and he was walking after their conversation. He was getting ready to walk away, and then he said something under his breath, and he kind of just laughed and walked away. And I'm like, "What did he just say?" He was like, "Oh," she told me, he was like, "Oh, he said you're ugly or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh." Okay, great. So I remember these two instances happened a few months apart, and I remember I was already kind of feeling that way about myself on the inside, but it was something about hearing someone having the guts to say that to your face that just really destroyed me. And so coming out of 8th grade, before I went to high school, I remember telling myself that I no longer want to feel this way. I don't want to feel ugly anymore. I don't want to feel ashamed of what I look like. Something has to change. There was even a point during 8th grade where I used to avoid my reflection in the mirror. Unless I was getting dressed for school, I'd just brush my hair really quick, comb it out of the way, and just immediately just leave the restroom. Like, I did not like looking at what I looked like. And it's very hurtful to think about. I even remember one time when I was like 13 or 14, where I literally stared at myself in the mirror and cried for like 20 minutes because I was just did not like what I saw. And just remembering that feeling even to this day is just stings a little bit. And so I'm glad that after 8th grade, I promised myself that I would no longer feel this way about myself. And so going into high school, I feel like I unlocked the key to confidence, right? So over that summer, I learned how to do my eyebrows. I watched YouTube tutorials, okay? It was me and my brow brush and my pomade. I write my little eyebrow pencil. I learned my shape. I learned how to clean my eyebrows up myself. I wasn't getting them waxed. My mama was not going for all that, but I sat in the mirror and I learned how to do it myself. And so I remember something drastically changed in the way that I was received once I started putting more effort into myself. All of a sudden, not only that, but I did lose a little bit of weight before 9th grade. So all of a sudden, I'm, "Hey, pretty girl. Hey, this, hey, that." And I'm looking around like, y'all talking to me? Like, me, this girl here? And so it was kind of weird. Something shifted once I started putting more effort into myself, and people around me started receiving me as pretty. And so I kind of started to believe it, and my confidence just went up from there after 9th grade. And I would say that at that time, especially once I started doing my lashes as well, I truly thought that makeup was the key to beauty. And so you would never catch me slipping outside without my eyebrows and my lashes on and my lip gloss. Like, I wasn't going for that. Like, I promise you, if I wasn't done up, baby, I wasn't showing up. If my hair wasn't done, I wasn't going to school. Like, I was just very, very, very adamant about that. Like, I needed to look put together in order to leave my house. And at the time, put together to me meant makeup. It meant dark eyebrows. And this was like 2015, 2016. So this was everybody's eyebrow blindness era. And baby, mine was at its height. To this day, like, everybody around me who didn't tell me my eyebrows was looking crazy. I got something for you. Let me stop. No, everybody was suffering from eyebrow blindness at the time, especially me. And so I really thought that in order for me to feel pretty, I had to have makeup on my face. And I believed that for a long time. And I still didn't feel beautiful on the inside. I just felt like I knew how to make my outer self look good. And so I kind of banked on that. And so once I started college in 2020 during the pandemic, that's when I feel like my journey with true confidence really started. So during the pandemic, I had nowhere to go. By the grace of God, I was working from home, so I never lost my job. I didn't have bills back then, but I never really lost my job or my sense of income. So I just used to sit at home on my laptop and I would work from home. But because of this, I had nowhere to go. I had no reason to get dressed up or done up for anything. So it was me and my natural reflection every day in the mirror. And so during that time, I had to face my natural beauty and I had to embrace my natural beauty. And spending so much time alone with myself after spending years in high school just engulfed in my friends and my relationship and everything, it was different. I was kind of forced to face myself. And that's when I truly realized that I don't really know what it is to feel beautiful. And as I grew into my spiritual journey, I realized that true beauty starts within. I won't feel beautiful on the outside until I love what I feel about myself on the inside. And that's when I would say the real work started. Not only that, but I joined an organization called NCNW, the National Council of Negro Women, and I realized that there's a lot of girls around me who deal with the same insecurities that I deal with. And so knowing that I wasn't alone in this, as I'm kind of I'm in this awkward phase between being a teenager and growing into a woman, and I'm coming into my own, knowing that other girls around me were dealing with the same thing definitely made it easier for me to start this journey. And so about a year and a half ago, I would say 2 years ago, I transitioned from working from home. I had lost my job working from home, which was a blessing in disguise. I'll talk about that later on. But I went from working behind a computer screen every day to now working in public. So once I started working in public, where I work at now, I come across many people on a regular basis. And so I started putting a lot of effort into the way that I look, and being able to work in public gave me a reason to put myself together again on a daily basis. And I would say my confidence had shot up even since then. And I realized that confidence is intentional, right? So, you don't just, of course, you wake up and feel beautiful on the inside, but in order to feel that way on the outside, you have to put that effort in, whatever that effort means to you. Once I started putting effort into the way that I looked, I realized that there was a difference in how the world received me, right? It was more than just shallow compliments. It was, oh, I love the way she carries herself. Oh, I can tell she's a confident woman. It's not that people can look at me and be like, oh, she's pretty. No, they look at me and they can tell that I'm confident. It's in my aura because I know who I am. I know the effort that I put into myself. I know the intention that I put into how I express myself out in the world. And that makes all of the difference. And so I just want to share some tips that for feeling confident that worked for me. So the first one, like I said, is to just accept that beauty starts within. You have to love everything that comes with you. So your personality, your expression, your mannerisms, your demeanor. Fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with everything that makes you you. You are uniquely you. There's no one out here that can be you better than you can be you. So own that. Own yourself. Own everything that comes with yourself and be unapologetic about it. Now, you won't feel unapologetic every single day, every 365 days of every single year, right? But if you work on it, and if you cultivate that energy within yourself, you will feel that most of the time. And so even when you start to feel those insecurities seep in, you can check yourself and be like, that's not who I am anymore. I don't identify with that anymore. I'm confident now. I don't have time to entertain negativity about myself. So definitely accept that it starts within. Also, remember that, know that your beauty is God-given. God created you uniquely to be you with every single feature you have. So do him justice by showing up as your best self, right? If God fearfully and wonderfully made you and everything about you was intentional, then reflect that intentionality in how you show up in yourself by putting in that effort to style your hair a certain way and make sure you put on a nice outfit when you go out into the world. And makeup may not be your thing, but baby, maybe a little lip gloss is your thing, maybe a little blush is your thing. Find what works for you and always put your best foot forward when you show up in the world. Another thing is that beauty is not about makeup. Like I said, it's about intention. Makeup is not everyone's thing. Everyone doesn't know how to do makeup. But whatever beauty means to you, embody that every single time you step outside of your home. Every single time you step outside, whatever it means to you, embody that. Which goes into my next tip: own your style. Don't follow trends. Do what works for you. Like, as I grow into this chapter of womanhood, I'm realizing that I'm not really like a loud dresser, right? Like, I like to pop color, pop out with a color here and there. But for me, on a day-to-day basis, I like neutral colors with accent, with pops of accents or whatever. Like, I love that. I love me a little bodysuit and jean combo. I love colors like white, black, pink even has been my color lately. When I wear those colors, I feel like it pops on my skin. I liked when my hair is pushed back. I don't wear my hair pushed back all the time, but I love when my hair is pushed back. It accentuates my features more. I don't do full beat glams every single day, but as long as I have my eyebrows shaped, a little highlight, a little blush, that's kind of my go-to. Love wearing lashes. So I figured out what my beauty style is, where it's makeup, clothes, whatever. So find what works for you, find what you love and stick with it. Another tip to find different inspirations for beauty, I would say, is Pinterest. Pinterest, create your own mood board for what kind of style you want to have. They have tons of outfits and ideas on there. Just create your own board and try to create outfits of your own from that inspiration. Another tip I would say is pay it forward. So once you start to walk into your confidence, pay it forward and pour into other women around you who you feel like may be lacking confidence. And anyone who knows me knows that I don't allow any woman to beat themselves down around me. Like, I don't allow any woman to speak negatively about herself physically around me. Never. Anytime I see that's like a trigger for me. I'm like, why would you say that about yourself? Do you see you? Do you see the material? Like, I immediately get to pouring into them, because what you heal in yourself, it's not enough to just keep that healing for you. Pay that healing forward. Pour into the next woman. You never know what kind of healing you may initiate for her just by being yourself and just by sharing your confidence, right? And so another thing is that don't let the world tell you who you are. Don't let the world define you. If I would have allowed the world to define me, I would have written myself off as ugly and overweight and too much of everything a long time ago. But I decided that the world doesn't define me. God does. And most importantly, I do. So remember that you deserve to feel confident. When you see your favorite celebrity strutting down a red carpet or whatever the case may be, just know that you are capable of feeling that feeling too. And every woman deserves to know what it's like to feel beautiful. And so I kind of just want to leave you with that. And yeah, so that has been my journey into confidence, through confidence. And just know that it's not a one-stop shop. As I grow more and more into my feminine journey, I'm becoming more and more confident with time. And so it's an ongoing journey to become the best version of yourself. And yeah, so hopefully you got something from this video. Hopefully you can relate, reflect, or grow from something that I said. And if you did enjoy this video or this podcast, feel free to like, leave a comment, and share. Till next time.